Welcome to In Conversation With, and today we have a very interesting conversation with the ever so fantastic Pan Filippo, and I'm also joined with my co-host today, Christina Pipas. Christina is the Secretariat of the National Federation of Cypriots, which is the representative body of around 300,000 strong Cypriots in the UK. And by day, she's also by profession, should I say, she's a family lawyer for the law firm Collier Bristow.
Thank you, Anthony. And Anthony Komodikis is also an active member in the community for many years and also a businessman owning a luxury barbershop in the city called House of Thrix. But enough about us.
Before we bring you in, Pan, I'm going to give the audience a little brief about you because if they haven't heard about you, it's crazy. I mean, to say the least, you're an entrepreneur, a businessman. You are the previous CEO of Diesel, Ben Sherman, and now the founder of Jordan Luca, and I probably missed a few things on the way. So welcome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you, guys.
Right, so let's start from your roots. That is why you're here today and what made you so great. Your roots actually are quite split, which is even more interesting, to be honest. So I believe your background also have some Irish in it. It's Cypriot. Tell us a bit more about where you come from.
Yeah, well, I was actually born in London, in probably the coolest place in London at the moment, which is Hoxton. And my father was Cypriot. He was from Yalusa, Famagusta, Cyprus, as I would say. And my mother was from Ireland, yeah. So they met in the mid-50s, late 50s. And they had a business out there and in London. And during that time when there was that Eoka Bee thing, and the people used to come around smashing their restaurant windows, by the way, that was back in the day, you know. So, and that was it. So I'm born there. I've grown up in London. I went to school in a very rough area, King's Cross, by the way. And then I studied at London University, yeah, Bedford College. It was actually in Regent's Park. And that's about it. That's me. So, yeah.
Your King's Cross is a very different place to the way it was when you grew up, right? Don't know if everyone realizes.
It certainly was. It was a lot of drug pushers and prostitutes, to be honest. I think it was like that. And I think I went to a very rough school as well. And it was, I think, testament to my mother and father, study, education, that sort of thing. I think most immigrants get that sort of chant from their parents, yeah. And it was a way out, really, for me. And I think, touch wood, I played with the naughty guys, but I wanted to study as well. So that's what I did, yeah.
Did you ever feel like you know quite a few people who are like Cypriot Irish mixes? Because I actually know quite a few, and I think there's something in that. I don't know what it is with the Irish and the Cypriot connection.
Big families, love their food, loud.
Yeah, probably a big denominator. They like drinking and partying and things like that. So yeah, there is quite a few. I've got a few very close friends of mine that are half Cypriot, half Irish, and it seems to be a very good mix, yeah. But then back in the day, it was really a mixed marriage, yeah, to some extent, yeah. Which, yeah. And really, even subsequent to that, I married a West Indian girl, so my kids are really mixed, yeah. So we've got a mixed race again, and I've given them all really long Greek names, which they keep saying to me, "Dad, why'd you call me that?" You know, so and that's been a problem. My daughter's called Electra, Leonides, and Pedro. Those are my three kids, yeah. So they're very Greek, and I think probably having a Greek name myself, I was called Panika. I call myself Pan now. It always made me identify with the Cypriot sort of culture, yeah, to some extent. And growing up back in the day, you guys are young, but growing up then, you used to go to probably 2 weddings every Sunday, yeah, and it was like a complete manic situation there. You can ask your parents, where there's thousands of people there. There was drinks, bottles of whiskey, everything flowing, and it was like an amazing time. Obviously, there weren't many of us then, but it's got much more a bigger sort of population. But back in the day, your socialization was at weddings, yeah, and all the kids used to run around throwing keftedes at each other, and it was completely different from what you get now. You're probably having weddings at Cafe Royal or something like that. But it was a great upbringing for me, yeah. So, and I was born around Islington. I was born in Hackney, but lived in Islington a lot as well, yeah. So that was where I was brought up, yeah.
Both very trendy areas now. I lived in Hoxton for a while, but then I realised I probably wasn't cool enough to live there anymore, so I had to move out. And did you, when you were growing up, did you visit Cyprus a lot? Was that something you did in summer holidays? And did you go to Ireland?
No, I did go to Cyprus, but up until really only twice. 1964 I went when I was very young. Very young, about 5 years old. And then 1971 we went for 4 weeks, which was an epic journey. We went all around Cyprus in one of these small buses, and it was it was amazing. And I was like always having, I was trying to learn Greek before I went. And actually, I'll talk about my Greek lessons, which are really not so good. But it was, I went there twice, But, I really enjoyed it. And I was, as I said to you, my name was Greek, Cypriot, and I had to be Greek. I couldn't be Irish. Otherwise, I'd be called Paddy O'Philippo or something. So completely different. But, it was, I remember one of those things about going to Greek school, which I absolutely hated, because they used to get a bus to take you to the Greek school. And it was at a church or something. And I just didn't want to be there. And they used to hold your sort of ear and pull your hair when you're a boy. And the only book I remember was the first book, and I still remember it vividly. La la ola, la la lola, meow meow.
I still use that.
Well, I can do that verbatim, but I can't remember anything about it really. So Greek is not that great. So, but there you go. That's my only lessons in Greek at that level. First book.
No, we did that as well. And that's really interesting. It's so interesting to hear about, everyone's story, where you come from. And obviously, since then you said you've come from humble beginnings, but like you've managed to get to a, sort of incredible place in your career. And obviously you've worked at some really exciting places. Like Andoni mentioned, you were just to name a few, CEO of Diesel, Ben Sherman, now the founder of Jordan Luca. I mean, really interesting to hear a bit more about your sort of professional story and how you got there.
Sorry, I'll give you. Really, I was working at the age of 13 in Chapel Market, if you know it, at the Angel, on a stall. And I had loads of Saturday jobs, which really then you could get a Saturday job or a summer job. And I worked in Harrods, I worked for Hertz Rent-A-Car, I worked as a barman, I worked in a factory, you name it, and I worked. And I think it was great for experience, for life. And this is really important when we talk about mentoring as well. So I've done a lot of that, and then I went to university as well. So, and then from there I came back from Greece, as you do, on holiday, and I decided I saw this thing in the was it the Telegraph or something, which I don't read, by the way, and it said trainee accountant wanted. So I thought I'd try that as a chartered accountant. And I studied. Sorry,
as you do,
and I studied. As you do, I thought, my God, I'd try it. I thought it's, again, using that sort of Cypriot mentality that you need a job for life and you have to be sort of really, something secure. And if you're one of these, an accountant, doctor, lawyer or something, you do well. But I didn't really like it. But nonetheless, I muddled through. And really, I failed a few times and things like that, but I eventually got through to qualify as an accountant, And then I went through a whole rafter of different things in different industries. I was working in the shipping industry. I was working for paper manufacturing, all for 3 years. As always, after 3 years, move on. Worked for Rentokil in the tropical plants division, all with financial roles, in the coffee business as well. So many different things I've done previous to doing fashion. So, and people say to me, was that a good thing? But I think really having an open mind and really doing lots of things that are different experiences has been very good to me. I think, absolutely good.
On the way, don't you? You just pick up different things. And different skills.
Some people just stay in a box, and it's really, I don't think that's the way forward. And certainly when you talk about jobs nowadays, jobs are no longer for life. There's many jobs you're going to do as an adult, but really they're more projects, 2 or 3 years here, 2 or 3 years over there, That's for me, So,
amazing. So you're so right. And like, you're working on something, you develop it, you move on, it gives you experience, create something new. What did you find like most challenging in that? Like, which company did you approach and it was like a whole new chapter, gave you new challenges to work on? What do you think like really hit you hard? Or a giant...
I think probably everything up until I got the calling from Diesel was really just, I was looking for something, really something to give me a satisfaction. And as people say, if you love your job, it's not a job, And I think until I got the job at Diesel, everything else was a job, really, And then one day I was at the coffee business as the finance director. I saw this thing, don't dress up for this interview. Finance director wanted for Diesel, I thought this sounds interesting. And And it wasn't really about preparing for the interview. I had to realise what I was going to wear for the job.
Yeah.
It was like completely the opposite of most preparation for an interview. I got the job, and luckily, as luck always prevails to some extent, I was promoted from the finance director within 6 months to the CEO, of the business, which was great,
Wow.
And they said, "There's these, this, and this," and Big Diesel was very small. And if many young viewers here today are listening about this particular interview, Diesel was phenomenal success for the last 15 years. Obviously, it's gone down a little bit since, but during the late 90s, it was the place to be. And anyway, got into this job, and probably actually what was my biggest challenge then was, well, I never had any formal training in fashion, no formal training in marketing, no formal training in probably everything except for finance and whatever. And I had to get to grips with things pretty quick, So that was the biggest challenge for me. I think my biggest asset was my interpersonal skills, Really be able to understand people's complexities and motivating them and understand the planning to go forward and the logic, And that was my biggest probably attribute to the business. And beyond that, I just loved it, So it was like a duck to water, in many respects, or a fish to water, whatever you want to say, in many respects. And I think probably what promoted me a lot was my interpersonal skills. And I think in many respects, you can have all the hard skills of any sort of education, but if you can't interact with people, it makes it very difficult. So my management really shone from that sort of perspective, So I had a whirlwind time at Diesel in the UK. We took on brands like Martin Margiela, D Squared, Ungaro, and I was voted in the top 10 in fashion for the UK as well.
Amazing.
And then I was doing pretty good. And this is not a self-indulgent exercise. They said to me, "Pan, can you go over to the States to run, North America?" Which I did as well for the Diesel Group, And we got onto the New York Fashion Week there, and we got accolades, unbelievable accolades, And it was a great time for me. And even when I left, the owner said to me, "Pan, what do you think?" He said, "Well," I said, "give me $1 million or 10." It was 15 years with you. I said, "I'll take the $1 million." So I take the 15 years with you. Sorry, it was the wrong way around. Freudian slip. I just wanted to be there. And the people I've met have been people that I know that are in various fashion positions around the world. The CEO for Clarks, Ganni, which is a women's brand. I can go on with the people I know, people that run Urban Outfitters. They're all people who used to work for me. So it's a great network for me to do other things. Yeah, great community. After that, I came back to the UK. I had some problems with my wife's health. And I then was the CEO for Firetrap and Zanetti. After that, for Ben Sherman, worldwide CEOs for these positions. Sadly, about 2012, my wife passed. So I had to come out of the business at a corporate level and go into, well, I didn't do anything for a couple of years. I had a daughter that was 13, another son at 15, another 16. I didn't think I could really sort of continue working on a, 24/7 basis. And then I've got back into the business really over the last 6 or 7 years. And I work with lots of small brands now, trying to make them big, That's what I've been doing over the last. And there's two in particular we can talk about. One is Jordan Luca, and the other one is Arlene, all right? So, which I'll mention. All right. Do we keep rambling on, or?
No, this is
what?
Really
great. I'll pull you on a couple of points actually, because you gave us so much there. I mean, more than great.
I'll pause.
No, it was great, man. I was listening. I was just in awe. You know what? Something that struck me, and this kind of comes to mind when I speak to a few people of slightly of your generation, where you kind of had a segue into getting into like a CEO of a big fashion brand or certain positions that you've had along the way that stereotypically from your beginnings didn't mean that you're going to end up there. And I always hear like, oh, it was different then than it is now. Do you think someone can do that in the same way today, the way the industry is? Or is it much more difficult, or is it even easier? It's the way things are structured.
It's very difficult to say, and I can't say really for sure, but honestly, I fell into it, to some extent, I fell into fashion, and it's something that I really adored and loved and still love as well. And it was a case of maybe you keep knocking on doors and one will open, Now, for me to move on from coffee to fashion, and I had no understanding of fashion, was a big sort of quantum leap. But I probably was a risk seeker, yeah, as opposed to being risk averse, yeah. So I was, and on top of all of that, I'm always looking at different things, yeah, observing things and understanding things, and really, you know, even though I didn't know anything about fashion, I was very willing to learn. I was humble enough to learn and listen to people. Probably my management approach was very much like Columbo, the detective, yeah. I sound like a complete idiot, and I sort of scratch my head, but I'm actually getting a lot of information from people at the same time. So it's completely an approach that was my Columbo approach, I suppose, to you know, getting knowledge from people as well, and also motivating them as well. You know, for me, so it was. I think that's part of my style of management. And really, when I recruit people as well, obviously half of it is getting that, making sure they've got the skills and experiences, but half of it is about attitude. Yeah, do you have the right attitude? Yeah, will you come to work? Will you can do, will do? Yeah. You don't bring me, these are, I know they're classical things that people talk about in business management. You don't bring me the problem, but you bring me the solution as well. Yeah, really important. I think also as well, for me, it's a case of, I always talk about the mutual contract when I'm recruiting someone. You know, if you win, Chris, whatever you, both you guys, I win. So it's a win-win situation. So I will be really behind you to make you win in your
yeah.
So it's a mutual situation there as well, and it's worked very well for me. And we've had some great successes in various businesses I worked in. Yeah, so that's been it. Yeah,
power of people. That's incredible.
I think it's important. I think it's important. I think it, you know, if you can create that connection with people, people want to do well for you as well. And you know, if you're mutually encouraging people, it encourages everyone to sort of be on the same path and sort of help each other forward, which is fantastic.
You're ahead of your time, going from coffee into fashion, and now you have coffee shops trying to get into fashion stores.
That's
have
true.
like concession type stores. You're ahead of your time. But ending where you ended, with your journey there, and you went on to Jordan Luca. Tell us now about what you're working on now. What is Jordan Luca? If no one's heard of it, it's quite cool.
I'll tell you what I do. Yeah, I'll tell you in a general term. What I do, I work with small brands. Yeah, so people approach me a lot, whether on LinkedIn or just through the network, and they need some help. Yeah, and I get it all the time. Yeah, and in many respects, what I try and do, I do lots of appraisals. I get paid shares, or I get paid money, or whatever. I do it because, firstly, I love doing it as well. You know, people say it's not just the money. I'm not motivated by money. I'm motivated by a journey, with these people. It really is. And the thing is, if people go in with a mentality, I want to make loads of money, well, obviously you become an estate agent, which sounds really, I don't want to insult estate agents, but you've got to go in there with, you want to bring something new to the marketplace. Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, it ain't going to work. So lots of young people and older people come to me with their brands. I do lots of fixing their brands, and I try and build a new foundation, a new direction. I appraise the whole business, do a current situation analysis, what's working, what's not, what is the roadblocks for their success. And then we take it from there. Sometimes I stay longer, sometimes I stay shorter. Yeah. So I do that on a regular basis with different people. There's many sort of brands I've worked with. Damaris, which does the lingerie for Marks and Spencer's at the moment. That's another client of mine. And there's various, but I think Jordan and Luca came along, and there were two guys, and they were really, I'll tell you the story quite quickly. Jordan and Luca came along, they were struggling, yeah? These two great designers. And their brand was called ODX. Now, ODX sounded to me like it was a bleach or something that you put through in the toilet. I said, hang on a minute, let's clear all this up. And I've moved from doing, and I'm an accountant by trade, but I've got fascinated by branding and brands, yeah? So we changed everything from the sort of the name. We said, let's get the fusion of Jordan, English, Luca, which is obviously Italian. They fuse. One is a quite edgy character from the UK, from London, from Battersea, by the way. And the other guy is very sort of meticulous, yeah? So, and he's, refined. And we fused it together. We changed the name from ODX to Jordan and Luca. We looked at the prices, which was too near to Zara. So therefore, we put the prices up, and the whole collection completely changed. I done all the introductions to various people in the industry, and the guys are hugely talented. So they took it from me and moved on. I don't work there every day. I just go there once a week and help out for 3 or 4 hours because I'm doing other things. They know what they're doing, and we've got we had a collaboration. I'll be modestly saying with Gucci, for example, which is it's not bad. After 3.5 years, we work with Slam Jam. We're on Milan Fashion Week, and it goes on with their accolades that they've got. So these guys are brilliant, and there's other people come through. There's an Asian girl that I'm working with, and she does. She's a woman. She's a woman of color. She's an immigrant, and also she's got polio as well, which is really sad. And certainly in the Asian community, she was almost like the black sheep. She was always hidden away. When you get that situation, it was very sad. And now she's working with Saks Fifth Avenue and Harvey Nichols, and she's got a shoe brand. So that's pretty good.
I need to get her details.
I saw that out afterwards. But so there's loads of these people come to me, and I teach as well, by the way, in between at Central St Martin's, and also University of Hertfordshire. So I do many things, even though I'm an old sod. You want to call me?
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, so do you go back to St Martin's to do some work there with people and like?
Yeah, I teach there. And I teach really about innovation in fashion, and how you really, one of the courses I run is basically about all of the sort of variables that are changing at the moment. You've got Gen Z, you've got technology, you've got sustainability as an ethic, you've got transparency as an ethic as well. You've got ethical trading as well. Yeah. All these things happen. You've got fast fashion, you've got slow fashion. And I just talk about how you can move the whole business forward on that basis. That's more a little bit. I'm using my intellectual sort of aspects of my life, I suppose, on that. So, and then also I teach a lot on branding and bits and pieces like that. I'm just a guest lecturer. I don't teach on a regular basis. They ask me to come in.
We've got a separate guy going through the doors of St. Martin's. I mean, if someone doesn't know what St. Martin's is, I mean, it's like the gold standard of fashion here. Like as a college, it's such a huge. I don't know, like a privilege to be able to go there. It just shows how successful you've been. I think that's incredible. And I interrupted you earlier.
No, I was going to say, I mean, that's so great to hear. I mean, I already knew that you want to inspire young people because, I mean, we're so grateful that you've signed up to the UK CMP mentoring scheme, which is fantastic. And I guess off the back of that, like I wanted to ask, when you were going through your journey, did you have a mentor that you could look up to? And also, my second question would also be like, what nugget of advice or would you give sort of an entrepreneur sort of coming up the ladder now, or if you have any sort of wisdom? I mean, you've given us lots of wisdom already, but if there's sort of any sort of maybe a few key points that you would sort of want to pass on.
I think probably on the mentoring side, probably mainly teachers, as opposed to anybody else, except for my nuna.
Oh, your nuna.
Yeah, because I think she's amazing, and she used to run a huge company back in the day, and she was like a woman ahead of her times in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. She's 90, and she was great. I always asked her, "What do you think of this, Nuna?" Her name is Kadina, by the way, parachute. But she was great, and then also really, teachers. You get mentoring from different people, but nothing really formal. Management businesses and that, and it was a case, but. When you get to the top of that sort of CEO level, it's quite a lonely life, because you are the person responsible, and answerable. And if you don't do it, you don't do it right. So it really is, I suppose, having a good sort of, family sort of support system as well, really important, So that's on that side. And what was the other question? Sorry.
It was, I guess, I know you've already given us lots of sort of nuggets of wisdom, but I guess somebody like, who's a younger person wanting to sort of follow that route, like if you've got any sort of wisdom for maybe sort of any young entrepreneurs or just younger people in general trying to get themselves up the ladder, like
with a young entrepreneur, for me it's a case of people come to me all the time, I want to start this, I want to do that. I think the biggest thing to be aware of is, one, are you going into a white space, which is completely new, which could be Uber, or it could be Airbnb, it could be Rafa, which does bicycle, outfits which never existed before, or Lululemon. So are you going into a white space, or you're going into a crowded marketplace? Because you're either going into one or the other. If you're going into a crowded market space, I use the example of pizzerias. There's hundreds of pizzerias. How do you stand out from the rest of them? Things like that. So, but the big thing more importantly, almost the second line of a business plan is, what do you see the opportunity to be? Yeah. Because if you don't see an opportunity, why are you doing it in the first place? Yeah.
Very true.
And that's been always I ask people, where can you see this opportunity? Because I can't see it vividly, you know. And once you see that, then you can start to address all the rest of the sort of business plan in terms of the business model, your differentiator in the marketplace, your offer, your scaling up, and everything else. But if you don't know what the opportunity is and you can't articulate that, and obviously articulate that to somebody else, then you haven't got something that's of interest to an investor. I can tell you that for sure. Yeah. That's my advice to entrepreneurs. I want to do this. You're either going to do it and break the sort of white space, or your differentiator is so great that you're out there. And you think, God, you're out there, and people shout about you so much. Yeah. So that's it.
You really need to. I mean, it sounds like you just really need to think about what it is you want to do. Because I think lots of people are like, oh, I want to be a business person, I want to be an entrepreneur, but actually probably haven't put, you know, the thought that needs to go into doing that. And it sounds like you do need a really clear, not only passion, the interpersonal skills, but you need direction and like a strategy.
Well, yeah, so certainly in the fashion business, I start off even before the opportunity. There's no need to buy anything anymore. There's no need to buy anything. You've got enough t-shirts, you've got enough jackets, sneakers, whatever. Why do I need to buy something else? Yeah. And that is so important, because there is no need to buy anything else. And once you get that in somebody's head, and then you start to create why I need to buy something, which is basically, there has to be a reason to buy, a compelling story. Like with this Asian lady called Priyanka. She's got a compelling story. People want to buy from her because they want to support her as well, yeah? And I think in this case, it'll be a very successful brand. But there has to be a reason to buy. Once you get that, then you see what the opportunity is, and then you go through a whole list of things, which I do almost on a process basis, to tell people whether it's going to work or not. And there's got to be, within a business as well, an engine, yeah? Somebody that's the sergeant major, that's not only just doing the plan, which you can do a plan like this and stick it on the shelf, but driving it through all the time, yeah? Because you need somebody, and it sounds some things are very basic, but they're not even in sort of business models or business school training, but they are important. I call it the engine room that needs to be there as well to make it work, yeah? Combined with some passion, I suppose, and things like that, yeah? So that's it. But it's really hard to open up a business, absolutely, and probably out of the 1,000 that opens up, I think 999 probably fail. Yeah, really, that's the case. You know, so and it doesn't mean you can't do it as well. And in many respects, a lot of fashion businesses have closed, and certainly I would say Topshop has closed in its old format, and people like that. But everyone that closes means there's an opportunity for another one to open. Absolutely. And it's a different way of thinking, you know, absolutely different way of thinking. So I wouldn't see it as a negative. I see it as a positive. If you're closed, I'm going to open up. And if we look around this screen table, and I'm sure people are looking at this as well at the moment, one thing opportunity we've got, most of us, we're all dressed up to some extent. Yeah. And we have to, so that's an opportunity in its own right. You need to dress up. But maybe you don't need to dress up when you're at home, but certainly, you know, when you go out. So I think treat negatives as positives as well. So I would.
It's so funny, something that you said just mimicked something that someone said to me once. He's also got a separate guy, entrepreneur, he's got a really successful business. And I remember during the financial crisis, I think it was around 2008-9, and I said to him, this is terrible, man. Like, your business must have had a really bad hit and stuff like this. Businesses are closing. Are you doing okay? And he said to me, this is great. I says, what do you mean? He says, I just feel really bad for your generation. Like, everything is so saturated. Now there's going to be set spaces for you guys to jump into. He goes, this has to happen at times. And it's an opportunity for you guys, especially. But on that note, before we head towards close, I just wanted to quickly ask, is there anything else that we should look out for that you're working on, that you're doing, any projects?
Yeah, there's one huge project, and this shows your ability to change. And one big slogan I always use is change or become irrelevant. If you don't like change, you will hate irrelevance even more. And that also applies to me, and it should apply to everyone around the table here, and even watch it, and what I'm working on at the moment, and you may not believe it because I can hardly switch on my computer, is I'm working with immersive technology and the metaverse. So there's a brand called Arlene, and I'm the chairman. It's based in New York, and essentially, basically, we are solutions to metaverse. Yeah, we build the products for the metaverse. Yeah, and our clients, which will impress you, include Coach, Macy's, Estée Lauder, La Mer. It includes Mary J. Blige. It includes Christian Louboutin. Yeah, all right. So I can go on with some. I can drop some great names there, and we've got a great team. I've got my cousin who used to work for me as a summer job in New York asked me to join as the chairman because he needed some commercial experience in it. Yeah, and so we've got 2 yellow hoodies in the team. Yeah, out of the 3 of us, the other guy's a Jewish guy. But we're doing some great things. We've got some accolades. We worked with Coach, and you can see it online. We worked with Disney there and some other people, and it's doing phenomenally well. And it shows you as well, if you're an entrepreneur or even just doing a career, you need to be moving on. Now, for me, at my age, to be working in high technology, you think, oh my God, pal, I don't understand it. But
awesome.
Most of it is logic anyway. Yeah. So let's get that real. And in any case, the technology's got to meet the commercial sides of business. So they work very well together. So and I'm enjoying it immensely working as the chairman there. So and I'm probably working on that about 80% of my time, yeah, at the moment. So, all right. So it shows. I think probably for me is you've got to change or become irrelevant, yeah. And even at my old age, I've changed. Otherwise, I'm totally irrelevant.
That's a really good slogan to.
Yeah, you just made me just reevaluate my whole life and work again.
You're going to shave your beard and
I think that's very powerful.
Dye your hair.
It's excellent.
And it'll be really helpful to a lot of people listening.
I don't want to chew too much of your time. As Pan the person, I want to know about any hobbies that you have. I believe you're a football fan. Who do you support? Be careful what you say. And, who do you?
If you're different, it's either one or the other, and I'm more on the red side. So it's
okay, so you're an Arsenal.
Yeah, and obviously we've got many more trophies than the other side, which is Tottenham. But I know a lot of Tottenham fans. I don't know why there's a mix there, but that's what I do. And funny enough, I mean, I was reading the Observer or Guardian this week or last week. They said boring people, and one of them things was stamp collecting. I used to be a stamp collector, and I still got stamps.
My Papa
so
was
even
a stamp collector.
Really? But even that's one thing. But I love music. I like hip hop music. I like a lot of the stuff that's carrying on at the moment. Central C, Dave. You probably don't know, but it's really cool. And Mos Def and people like that. So I like music. I like lots of different things. Yeah. I try and go down the gym, but I'm not that good at it. But we try. And I think that's about. Netflix, I think you did ask in one of the questions. And Netflix, I don't really watch TV so much except for the news, and I like current affairs. And I think it was the Money Heist I liked so much. Yeah,
we watched that. It's very good. Did you watch the subtitle? Did you watch it in Spanish with the subtitles in English?
No, I watched it basically over the lockdown, and I got addicted. I was up to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It goes on to the next. That was I just got absolutely addicted. And then it ran out of series, but I really enjoyed it. I just don't know why, but I just got into the whole theme of it.
It's good.
I do like this. Yeah, I go to the cinema. I think it was my best film I saw recently was Parasite, the Korean film with the Korean. Yeah, I thought that was amazing.
Award-winning, yeah, fantastic.
It was, it's award-winning, and it's a simple story, but it was amazing. Obviously, you know about it to some extent, yeah. So it was great. That's what I do.
Amazing. And I'm going to ask you, like we all have, you mentioned throwing Gulbebya wedding when you were a kid. So what is Koftedes, sorry, Koftedes. What would you say your favourite Cypriot dish is? Everyone has to have one.
Well, I've got so many. So I think I love stifado, octopodio stifado. Yeah, I like it. And I like gologassi, but without any meat nowadays, which I do like.
Yeah.
And I like I'll give you a whole list of things I like in case you want to take that for a meal. I like macaroni de fondo as well. So
yeah, that's good.
So all three. I mean, I love Greeks. I like that traditional food. Yeah, as opposed. Of course, I like kebabs and all that stuff, but I do like it a lot. Yeah. So
we've got you covered in this house. Don't worry.
Yeah, we do. We've got a tray of macaroni de fondo downstairs.
If you really, one of my favourites, I'll take some away there. But I love Greek food. But I find that I like all the sort of when you sort of observe things, though, you realise how healthy Cypriots were eating in the past. When you look at all the vegetarian food like fasolias and louvi or something, all this sort of stuff, I think to myself, God, they were so healthy in what they ate because they were poor as well, and beans were the main staple diet. But it's good. So I love all Greek food anyway. So there you
go. I say to vegans all the time, we've been doing it for God knows how long. We've been vegans. We've been.
I know my fast, like, you know, throughout Lent, like, was it 2 days a week and
2 days a week? Yeah. Fridays and
she's 94 and still strong as an ox. So
yeah, we're old like that.
But Pan, that's it's. Oh, sorry, there you go.
You know what? Very interjected. I didn't write this down. If you go to order some souvlaki, what's your order? Do you get chef d'ayez? Do you get chicken, pork? What is it?
I do. Funnily enough, I don't know why I don't like pork, but I do like chef d'ayez. So and I do like, and I keep saying I don't like pork, and I eat Luganiga as well. So and I eat really chicken mainly, that sort of thing. Yeah. So, but if you want a few tips from me, I'll be a little bit sort of, and this is not self-indulgent. Yeah. I would say to everyone, jobs are no longer for life, yeah? You need to have many skills and keep changing your jobs and whatever, yeah? All right? Experience many jobs as well, really. Even if you're, I don't know, studying to be a doctor, you can work I worked as a chambermaid as well, which I found it one of the hardest jobs, or chambermaid man. You know, so experience everything, yeah? Really develop your people skills, which is really important, yeah? And it's all about soft skills as well as hard skills, yeah? I think these are some tips, all right? Keep knocking on the door. One will open, yeah, and others will close, of course, yeah. When you start a new business, I said, really look to see where the opportunity is, okay? What is the opportunity? You need to articulate that. You need to, I can see an opportunity. I'm going to exploit it, yeah?
Yeah.
I think if you're going into business, always research and keep an open mind and look around and see what the competition's doing, yeah? I think, you know, failure does hurt. I've failed many times as well, and I've succeeded many times, yeah. But it does really help you, and it opens up your eyes and puts you on alert for the next possibility that could happen as well. I think people say, oh, you've got to believe in yourself, be positive and all that. It all sounds like chants and whatever. There is, of course, there's an element of truth, and it's very hard sometimes when you're low down and you're not doing well to pick yourself up. But my manager said to me once, as I was going in to do my finals and my chartered accounts exams, they said to me, Pam, I said, I can't do it. He said, yes, you can. Just look around the classroom and say, I'm better than him, I'm better than her, I'm better than him. We're all human beings. So why not just give, as you know, the West Indians say, big yourself up and really be prepared to go forward, yeah? And I think life is about attitude and being very positive, yeah? If you act like a blossom or a blossom tree, the bees will come to you. If you're so negative, you won't get that energy. Sorry?
I like that analogy.
Yeah. You need to act, because people are attracted to blossom and not to really, I don't know, misery to some extent. I know it's hard, but you've got to come out when you're on, this is life and you're on stage as well, yeah? That's really the case there.
Oh,
this is why I'm really appreciative. I'll mention again that you've joined the mentoring scheme for the UK CPN mentorship scheme that I know you've been working on with Tony and so forth. They're doing great stuff. If anyone is interested in it, I don't know if you have a mentor yet. I'm not in that project, but snatch his hand. It's incredible, and it's for free. I mean, yeah, man. You just said like people pay you to consult and join. Like it's an incredible opportunity for someone.
Yeah, I mean, and the advice that you've given us and those people watching, it's just, I mean, I've got a lot of takeaways as personally that, and I'm going to think about, and I think others definitely will as well. And it's so interesting and inspiring to hear about your story. I mean, well done as well. You know, I feel proud of you as a Cypriot community. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you. It's not, as I say, it's not self-indulgent. I'm prepared to help people. That's why I'm on this scheme as well. And actually, I get a kick out of it as well, because if they do well, it looks good on me, you know. So, as I said, when I recruit people, you win, I win. It's mutual. And I love to see the journey. I think, wow, as part of that, I don't even care about the money, you know. It's about the journey and and what happens afterwards. Yeah, of course, you need to pay for your Oyster card or whatever, but it's about that journey going forward. I think, you know, be positive. Hopefully, some of the tips will help people. And, you know, try your best, yeah?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's just been really great.
Hope you've enjoyed it, everyone. thank you so much again for your time. Obviously, your time is very valuable, and we hope to see you more in the community again. And we'll be picking your brain. I'm sure you're gonna get lots of people reaching out to you now.
Definitely.
But we really do appreciate it, Pan. Thank you so much. And to all the
My
audience,
pleasure.
if you haven't already, subscribe up to the socials on the UK Cypriot Federation.
Yeah.
Get involved. Check out what's going on. Twitter, Instagram. You can find them there.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.